Hello, everyone. Very nice evening. Today, here in Talkeando Podcast, we are receiving Irish Matthew in our 104 episode. I'm a bit nervous because it's our third episode in English. It's been a long time since the second episode. And we're going to receive Irish Matthew. How's it going, man?
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much for accept our invitation.
Oh, thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you here. Just before we start, I just want to say good morning to Brazil. Like, it's 10 a.m. there. So, we are 4 hours ahead.
Bon dia, Brazil.
Bon dia. And for you guys that are coming for the first time and doesn't know what the hell is Talkeando Podcast. So, we are podcasters here in Dublin. We are talking with different people every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays with a conversation to make you think different and get out of your comfort zone and motivate yourself to change your habits and do your right thing in your life to make your life better. So that I say that because each person that came here did this thing, did this action, and changed their lives forever. Nice way to start.
I would be so fucking nervous to say this in English, really.
Yeah, like we don't have to think in translation. Like,
it's really crazy.
And so if you're not subscribed, subscribe to our channel to don't lose our episodes and follow our social media. So how do you say arroba?
No. at
Okay, now sorry. Our social media are Talkeando Podcast. We are on Instagram, LinkedIn as well. Oh, actually, you're just about to have. I think we need just more 8 followers on LinkedIn to start live streaming there too. Leon, we have a dog with us, and Leon. And so. If you have any question to send to our guest, so just send text on our live chat on YouTube. If you want to participate of this conversation, just send us a super chat of any value. We're gonna say your answer and say your question or message straight away. Today we're gonna receive Irish Matthew. He's Irish from County Meath.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. He's a GP doctor and has a YouTube channel where he talks about Irish language and culture. Did I forget anything? Oh, yeah, another thing. This episode is sponsored by D Black Specialty Coffee. So they are Brazilian coffee straight from Minas Gerais, Serra da Mantiqueira. And they are getting in the Irish market with these 2 classes of specialty coffees, the one classic and the one intense. And you can get your special coffee in www.dblack.ai and use your discount coupon Talkeando. You can get a 10% discount. Yeah. Am I saying right?
Perfect.
Yeah. You can understand well my English?
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Because as you can see, I'm not used to... I talk in English every day in my work, but it's different when we are on live and have to all the presentation. No, I wasn't. I'm always prepared for this stuff, but I don't prepare how I will say the thing. So So Matthew, thanks again for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to have you here in Talkeando. We were talking before, and we were talking about your knowledge in history and other stuff. But I didn't know you were a doctor. Actually, I did. I think I did my homework. Researching about you, but I just saw nothing about doctorship and other stuff. But how are you, man?
I'm good. Slightly nervous. This is my first time being on a podcast.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
Nervous but excited as well.
Yeah, I say to all the guests that after 10 minutes we're gonna chill. We start chilling out, and then the conversation just flow.
Yeah.
But so how is to be a doctor in Ireland? Because it's strange for us. You say you are a GP doctor. Everyone has to come to you first to go to another thing, and sometimes it sucks. I can say I need to say
I know
because in Brazil we do different. We go straight to the specific doctor that we need, and what do you think about it? How is your life?
Yeah, well, I know what you're saying about that.
Mhm.
Like, that's a strange system for people who didn't grow up in that system. But I suppose the system we have is maybe is the wrong word, but kind of British. So like the Commonwealth countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Ireland, Britain, kind of have the same system where you have a GP like your family doctor. So traditionally, you would have gone to him for anything, and then if he thought or she thought you needed a specialist like a neurologist, then they would refer you. They'd write a letter or get in contact with the neurologist and say, this person has this and this. Can you help? So we call them consultants. So you'd consult their expertise, and then they would take over the case and do whatever. And then once they're finished with you, they'd send you back to the GP, your family doctor, and they would take over care. But I know in a lot of, most other countries, like most kind of say European countries, like in Spain, in France, and Germany, if you have a headache, you go to the neurologist. You kind of say, it's something in my head, I'm going to my neurologist. Or for a kid, you go to your pediatrician. Whereas in Ireland, the first port of call is your GP, and the GP. And as a GP, like I trained, I did pediatrics. I worked as a pediatrician, so I can handle most pediatric stuff, like 80-90% of it. And then if I can't handle it, then I'll refer on to hospital or I'll refer on to a specialist. So it's just a different system. It's like the way we drive on the left-hand side of the road. You guys drive on the right-hand side. It's just different. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it's just different.
You just told like you follow the not rules, but like British stuff on this. You were always okay with that since you were as a child, like that the British stuff with Irish culture. How you feel? How was to grow up like with that? Because I'm not saying you are old man, but you're older than me, and you lived all the stages in Ireland. Like it's interesting to have a person like you here, like to
live it.
That lived every stage. I know every stage, but a lot of important stages in Irish history. You know.
Yeah.
But at least for me, like.
Yeah. I grew up like in the 70s and 80s, and at that stage, the troubles in Northern Ireland were on. So there was at the time there was a lot of kind of anti-British sentiment, not against the British people as such, but more kind of
the control.
Yeah, the kind of the establishment, like Margaret Thatcher, and the way that maybe the nationalist community was treated very differently to the non-nationalist, the unionist population in Northern Ireland. So, like in the 70s, they brought in internship, which today an intern is you go on there, you work in an office somewhere, or work in a business. But back then it was, if the authorities had any inkling that you might have subversive thoughts, you were arrested without trial, and you were kind of imprisoned for not doing anything wrong except having the wrong kind of political idea. Okay. So there was like kind of a lot of anti British establishment sentiment in Ireland in the 70s and 80s, but it's great that's all gone now. Like, so since the Good Friday Agreement, everything has been settled, and nobody has won and nobody has lost, and people can kind of move on, and it's I hope it stays like that. That's why I think Brexit here in Ireland, like a lot of people had a really visceral reaction to Brexit, more because of it upsets the Northern Ireland situation, because people, I don't think anybody in the 80s, nobody liked the violence in Northern Ireland, and the injustice or perceived injustice that was going on.
I think I correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Like, I think in the 80s or 70s in Brazil, we had the movement Peace and Love, like the hippies, and I don't know if it happened the same in Europe. Like,
This was influenced by United States.
yeah, like
That's why
the
we
word
just
was
follow
polarized,
we
yeah.
just follow the
The vibe.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was nothing like from us.
Mhm.
We are just more influenced by
Yeah,
United
by the
States.
states. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Here in Europe, they have more wars and social issues to solve than us. I think.
They do have more history than us.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Alex, the old continent. Yeah.
It's really nice.
But how was life like daily with these political issues? Like you were like grow up afraid to have your own opinion on some specific matters, or you know what I'm saying? Like the feeling of the sentiment of freedom, you know.
Certainly, yeah. Like in the 80s, it didn't really affect me, but anyone Ireland was, it was a different country, so it was very conservative, and if you did have a different opinion that wasn't kind of mainstream, you were ostracized for it. So, for instance, being gay was illegal.
Okay.
Wow. And if you were gay, you kind of most gay people they either hid it, so they got married and had kids, and just suppressed it or hid it, or they'd leave. They go to America, they go to England, they go to London or whatever, where they could be more free. So, yeah, it was certainly more oppressive. Or if you didn't have maybe a nationalist outlook on life, you'd be labelled a West Brit, or like you sympathising with the English, and you'd be ostracised as well. So it was much more, much less liberal, much more conservative society.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious about, like, you know a lot about history, and you didn't become a teacher or a history teacher. You became a doctor. Why did you choose to be a doctor?
Good question. It was never like a burning desire that I wanted to be a doctor, but it was more when I did my leaving cert, which is the final exam in our school here. I did my exam, and I knew I wanted to go to university, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to go to university, and I didn't want to have to repeat any exams.
Okay.
So I studied like really, really, really hard for my last year in school, and then that summer, I just had time to reflect, and I knew I was good at science. I wanted to be in a job where I had to, kind of things were changing all the time, or I had to keep up to date, or
Okay.
I didn't want to be stuck in a job where it's just mundane, and it's the same thing day in, day out.
I got you.
And yeah, I kind of like working with people. So my dad suggested medicine to me, and I was thinking, I was like, maybe. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind doing medicine. So that's basically, I got the points to get into medicine, and day one, I just loved it. Well, I loved the crack, just hanging out with people. And you were kind of learning, like I did like the subjects as well, like the scientific stuff, learning about the body, learning anatomy, physiology, pathology, all the different subjects that we learned. So yeah, I just liked it.
Okay. And did you travel a lot, or like have you traveled a lot, like as a doctor? Like, because I see like Europe is kind of a place that you can travel a lot, and you can get a lot of knowledge on this. Like, because one example, when I was working a pub, I met a guy. He was just 22, and his knowledge about the world like was so incredible, because he knows about things of Morocco, of other stuff. And in my head, I think like every Irish or every European has this kind of big knowledge in his head, because they have a lot of opportunities to travel around. And how was your life like, even before being the doctor? Like during this time, you travel a lot. How was that?
Quite a bit, yeah. I think we, as Europeans, we may not appreciate it as much. Like if you're from America, like America's a huge country, and to travel to the next state is a is a big journey. Or in Brazil,
Mhm.
like I've been in Brazil, and
Mhm.
like to go from one state to the next is kind of a big deal.
Mhm.
And as kids, I remember as kids we went as a family for a few summers. We got the ferry over to France.
Mhm. Wow.
So yeah, that's like a really formative
Mhm.
experience, going to a different different culture, different language. They drive on the other
Mhm.
side of the road. Even when we went, we had to change our light bulbs in the car. Like, so we drove the car onto the ferry, but we had to get yellow light bulbs.
Okay.
Because in France at the time, they're French and they want to be different to everyone else. So it was illegal to have white bulbs. You had to have yellow bulbs. I'm sure there was a reason for it. I don't know what it was.
I didn't see that. I didn't like.
No.
Yeah. Didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the nice thing to live in Europe. Like to take a half an hour flight or 1 hour flight, you're kind of lands in all different country and different culture, different everything.
world.
Like different world. Like so close.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It would be nice to grow up like visiting those places. You know.
Yeah.
Imagine like you. When was the first time you went to another country?
I think it was getting the ferry to France. I think that was
Okay.
the first time that I went to a different country.
And and did you never thought about like? Did you never think about living in another country during those days? I know.
I did.
Yeah, because I see a lot of Irish people like after school, like just leaving to Australia or others, like how can I say, like more warm countries, you know?
Yeah. Well, certainly as a kid, I remember thinking
Mhm.
when we were studying like history, and I'd hear about Vasco da Gama. If I've pronounced that in
You
Portuguese
pronounce it right.
And Henry the Navigator, and how they
Mhm.
sailed around the world. And I remember thinking to myself, "Oh bugger, everywhere is discovered. I can't discover anywhere." So I've always been interested in travel and getting to know different cultures, different areas of the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. I see you. I saw a video of you. You are in a small city, I think, close to Galway, where all the folks they speak in Gaelic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Do you speak very well Gaelic? I suppose.
I don't speak very well.
No.
I speak conversation Irish.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I do. I do like it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in Ireland, everybody learns in school. Like so,
Mhm.
from when you're 5 years old, you start learning Irish in school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about now, but when I was in school, the teachers weren't very successful in teaching us how to speak it. Probably because they couldn't speak it themselves or didn't know how to speak it themselves. So it very much depended on the teacher that you had.
Mm-hmm. But in your opinion, do you think like one day people just gonna stop talking in Gaelic or not? Because even though you're nowadays you're learning at school, but a lot of most of them stop talking. Then sometimes they don't know, and most of them doesn't know yet. Nowadays how to speak.
I don't think it's a binary question whether you
Mhm.
speak Irish or English. I think you can speak both. So there's no fluent Irish speaker or native Irish speaker who doesn't speak English. But they all like you may not hear it too much. You won't hear much Irish because if there's a non-Irish or non-Irish speaking person in the group, then everybody will just naturally speak English. But yeah, so maybe there's less native fluent speakers who grew up speaking it at home. But especially in the last, I don't know, maybe 30 years, there's a real movement to go to an Irish speaking school. So a lot of kids will go to, it's called a Gael school, where the tuition is purely in Irish. So you're from an English speaking background, but you go in and you learn everything through Irish. So, and the kids just pick it up just like that, just quite easily. And then there's Irish speaking secondary schools. So the people who come out of that, it's just normal. It's just like
it's really nice to see this because like they are conserving like the language.
Yeah, I have a friend. She's Irish, and she speaks very well Irish. and sometimes when she travels with another friend that speaks very well Irish as well, she starts speaking Irish just to other people doesn't know what they are speaking.
Yeah.
Because no one knows Irish.
Yeah.
Like just I think a small amount of people. But yeah, like for example, now if I take a car now from go outside Dublin, where is the closest place I found people speaking in Irish?
Well, the closest place you could go to is in County Meath.
Yeah, it's your county.
Called Rathcarn. It's kind of just outside Navan, and that's an Irish-speaking community. But it wasn't always Irish-speaking. It came about in I think it was the 1920s or 1930s. The government, there was a big estate, a big area of land, and the government bought it and gave it to native speakers from Connemara, from West Galway. So a lot of those families, they moved down to that area in the 30s.
Okay.
And settled there, and they've continued speaking Irish since then. So that's kind of the nearest place you could go to. Otherwise, you'd have to go basically to the west of Ireland, so to Galway, Mayo, Donegal, Cork, Kerry.
One of my favorite places is Donegal. Yeah, I've been there 4 times, I think. Like to surf.
Okay, yeah.
You do you do any sports, or have you done since you were a child? Because Ireland has their specific kind of sports like Gaelic football and what's hurling.
Yeah, Gaelic football and hurling. Yeah,
is did you know rugby as well? But rugby is not Irish.
Rugby is more. Yeah,
it's not Irish, but it's very popular here.
It's popular here. Yeah. It's more kind of Commonwealth, I guess, as well.
Okay.
Like British for a better word. So like Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Britain, and France play rugby. So I love watching rugby.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't understand nothing.
Yeah.
I tried to learn American football when I was there. I saw a match of the high school, but I didn't understand anything.
It makes no sense to me as well.
Yeah, to catch the ball and then throw the ball to another guy, and then I don't know. Yeah, but what sport do you like most here? Yeah, you say you watch rugby, but have you played someone?
No. I just like it. I like it because for me it's the best in sport. So especially the Six Nations. So you have Ireland. You're playing England, you're playing Scotland, Wales, France. So the rivalry is there. So Ireland, we want to beat the English every time. But it's a nice rivalry. It's like we want to beat them. But at the same time, all the supporters will get together, and after the match, you'll go drinking together and have the crack. So there's no animosity the way there might be, or aggression the way there is in football. Like people want to win the match, but it's more about having a good time and kind of what binds us are.
But there's a lot of rivalry here in Ireland. I saw sometimes people say like is Dublin against the rest of the country. So with this, how is to grow up in County Meath and then like live in Dublin? How is too much different for you, or like what kind of like a way everybody does? Like everybody goes to the capital or something, you know?
It's kind of a friendly rivalry as well. So like in the 1980s, Gaelic football, Meath had a good Gaelic football team, and our main rivals were Dublin, and there was a few games in the late 1980s where it was neck and neck the whole way to win the Leinster Championship. So there was a real rivalry in football, and Dublin people would joke that anyone outside of Dublin is from the bog. And then within Dublin, like you have the North Dublin and South Dublin, the North Siders and South Siders. So there's rivalry everywhere. But it's mostly kind of good-natured.
Okay. Yeah. I don't say like that because I have a teacher and she was talking about against North Ireland, like so bad. And I was thinking like, wow, there's a lot of rivalry until now. Yeah. But talking about Irish culture, why you choose to like because your life is like we as a doctor is totally different. As a person that not just talk, but talk about language and culture. Like, what did makes you we start on this?
I guess, well, my girlfriend, she's Brazilian.
Camila Udilon.
Camila, yeah. So I'd be explaining stuff to her. And then for my birthday, she gave me a microphone and she said, oh, you should make videos, and like everything you're explaining to me, you should make a video of it. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So that's basically, how I started making videos. And it's a good bit of work. I didn't realize how much work it was.
Yeah, it is.
And
I'd say like this talk here is like just 10% of the whole work.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I never realized. And I guess in the 80s there was no internet, so I didn't grow up with the internet or anything digital. So it's a steep enough learning curve to me. So she kind of encouraged me to do it, and I was like, oh, that sounds like an interesting project.
Like, do you think like having a lot of immigrations now, a lot of people like from outside in your country makes the Irish people feel more interested about your own culture?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because certainly growing up, it might sound strange, but there was an animosity against Irish culture and Irish language, even though at the same time Ireland was quite a nationalistic country in the 80s. But a lot of that is historical baggage coming from mostly from the Great Famine in the 1840s, where the people who did well were the ones who didn't speak Irish, and the people who died or lost everything were the kind of poor people who spoke Irish as their first language. So there was a lot of unconscious resentment and hatred towards the language and towards the culture. But I think that's kind of changed now. So you still hear it. You still and people aren't even aware of it. They say, "Oh, Irish is no use," or "Why are they funding this?" or "Why are they funding that?" But those people never really question it.
Yeah, it's strange. Because there was a day I was studying about Irish history in the school here, and we have to find out some inventions that was created here, that was made here, and I found a lot of things.
Do you know what the Irish invented?
Yeah, the war tank. I think, if I remember well. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I was going to say nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
The way when you're writing, you write a word and you leave a space.
Yeah.
And then you write another word and you leave a space.
Yeah.
That was an Irish invention.
Really?
Yeah.
Separate the words.
Separate the words, yeah. Like, so in Latin script and probably Greek script and like ancient scripts, it was just, there was no separation of the words. So if you look at kind of ancient Roman headstones or something like that, you'll see it's all just letters piled one on top of the other.
I never thought about it. Like, why we separate the words in our sentence?
I'm mind blown.
Yeah. There is a reason for that. Do you know? Is there a reason for?
I don't know. It was the monks that
just seems right.
Yeah.
Just seems right to do.
Yeah.
Like, if I was to give an answer about for this question, I would say like, because the person that was writing, they just stopped for breathe. Like, I'm going to cross the street to go to some air, and then just breathing, and then we separate the words. Wow.
Yeah, so we invented nothing.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, the space
really
between the words is nothing.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's not nothing. This is a space.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
The space. Yeah. Wow. But yeah, I found a lot of inventions in here, like the war tank. I think the submarine as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the submarine. Yeah, people have to be so proud of the Irish culture. Like, it's funny, like how a small country can makes a lot of difference in the world. I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You should be proud.
Oh, yeah, I'm proud. Yeah. Yeah, Irish culture. Yeah, we maybe we don't realize it, but yeah, we've certainly contributed a lot.
I can say that because in my I start learning more about Brazil when I moved to Ireland because I met a lot of people from Brazil from everywhere areas, like from the north, from the south, and when you talk with those folks, like everything about their lives, and then you think like, so my city is different. Yeah, you speak different, or you say you do this different, and then you feel like Brazil is so rich. Yeah. But it's nice to see like how a small country like is so rich as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Matthew, we're gonna have a break now.
Sure.
Yeah. And we start with the answers and questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have any message or question to send to Matthew, so please just write it down on live stream on YouTube. And we're gonna come back in a couple minutes. 1 minute, I think. That camera gonna be open, and we're gonna be mute on 3. Yeah, we good.
I think we're gonna start singing and everything. So it just
and I stopped singing. Yeah. We are back, guys. This episode is sponsored by the Black Specialty Coffee. So to get your coffee, just go to www.theblack.ie and use your discount coupon of 10% Talkeando. Just write it down, Talkeando, and you're gonna get your 10% in those specialty coffees. Yeah. Do you like coffee?
I do like coffee. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
really? If you
Yeah.
want to choose, if you would choose, which one you choose? The classic one or the intense?
That's difficult.
The intense is like stronger.
Which is stronger?
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't like the stronger
the
one.
stronger
I'll go for
one. So here you are.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah, stronger coffee for you.
Oh,
The black coffee, the Brazilian coffee straight to the Irish
Oh,
house
cool.
of Matthew.
That would keep me up all night.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's a good one. Good taste, the smell, everything. Like, I'm suspect to say I love coffee, and with a special one from Minas Gerais.
Mm.
Wow. Matthew, how you see like Ireland nowadays? Like we have now this accommodation crisis.
Yeah.
Like, and how you see like how is gonna be the future of Ireland with this? Because we still have a lot of people coming, and we still need a lot of people. I can say from IT in the IT perspective. Like I work in IT, and we need a lot of workers.
Yeah.
And we don't have places to live.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer.
Really?
I
Kind of like no, because in my opinion, we should like put the people more in the country, but sometimes like we don't have like much to do in the country because everything is concentrated in Dublin.
yeah.
Do you think like it's possible like to make those countryside get big? You know what I'm saying? Like
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I think the government might be launching an
Mhm.
initiative where, like, there's an accommodation crisis. But if you go to most towns in Ireland, you walk around the town centre and it looks empty.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the shops are
Mhm.
closed. A lot of the houses in the town centre are just empty.
Mhm.
And I think they do have a scheme that might be just launched to kind of refurbish those houses. So in a way, it's kind of it's a
Mhm.
simple solution. Like you just refurbish those places.
But there's a lot of places to refurbish. Like we were saying, there is a building here in the city center. Like it's older than Brazil. Brazil has like 500 years.
And there is a lot of stuff here. There's
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's really funny to think about it because I remember when I just got here. I'm
Yeah,
here
he's
for
6 years.
6 months here. So like every time I see something like, oh, this is like the 8th century, I was like, oh, like twice our age. Like it's really, really crazy to think about it.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like in the break. I would get this part to the conversation about your Instagram. I'm about to say like how was for you to explain in your Instagram, in your YouTube channel about like the Irish. How was the community? How was the
well, on my YouTube channel, I might pick a specific topic that I want to talk about, explaining some aspect of Irish language or Irish culture. So I would do that. I would make the YouTube video, and then for Instagram, I just narrow it down to 30 seconds and do it really quickly.
But how do you find yourself in this kind of new way of work, like as a creator? Like, do you feeling okay? Are you feeling okay, like to like be in the front of the camera? Because like it's not like it's very different from your like daily life, like as a doctor, like just speaking with the folks, and now you're like in the front of the camera, speak with like can't be million people, you know.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like as I was saying, like a lot of the work is actually that's the easy part is making the video.
Yeah.
The hard part is, or the work is editing it and then just putting it up on YouTube and maybe getting people to watch it. That's kind of more of the work. So yeah, I don't really think about it. I kind of just make the video. And Camilla, my girlfriend, she's really good. Like she encourages me to do it, and
Camilla's amazing.
Yeah, she does all tells me where to stand depending on how the lighting is, and so yeah, it's mostly she does all the work, and I just stand there and talk.
And how is to have a Brazilian girlfriend? How is like life with a Brazilian girlfriend for you? Because we Brazilians, we are like kind of has our particularities, and how is to like that to deal with the different of culture for you. I'm not saying bad things, guys. Just like
it's great. Her mum doesn't speak
a
word of English. She actually does speak a few words of English. She's learning English, so I found that difficult when I went to Brazil. And Camilla's from Recife in the northeast, so I'd been learning a bit of Portuguese on Duolingo, but when I went to Recife,
the accent is different.
I couldn't understand a word. I was like, what have I been learning for the last year? So I couldn't understand a word that she was saying or they were talking about. So yeah, I kind of thought I might have picked up been able to communicate with her a bit easier, but I think it just takes time.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, like feeling lost between a lot of people because you just don't understand what they're saying. Because one thing is to learn Portuguese or any language by an app, and then to see like native people talking, you know, like they talking fast, they talk with these slangs. Even here in Ireland, like you say like our Irish people say the best English, but it's very hard. It's quite hard to understand at the first, like the way you guys speak.
No, when you are at the temple bar and just walking like at the street and someone shouting at someone, I can't understand shit.
Nah.
But it's really funny, like the slangs. I really like the slangs because like what's the crack, what's the story, and the other stuff. Like was like this actually sounds really cool. Like I really like it.
Yeah.
My first time when I heard what the story, I thought that I had to talk about something like any story will happen that happened to me, and I was like, which story I have to talk, man? Which story he's talking about?
Irish people just want to be entertained. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's nice. But what's different for me because I used to hear like, oh, what's up? Just what's up, or what's going on, and then like, hey, what's the story? Like, which story?
It's a whole different vibe. Like that's what we were saying. Like the Brazilians and the Irish get so easily along because like our vibe is just like we just want to have fun, just have a good time.
Yeah.
So like it's really nice to have this interaction and to see the difference between like our influence by United States. And get here like, oh, this is us. Like, we just have a pint and like.
Yeah, we have a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
I went to an Irish wedding when I 5 months after I arrived here.
In Donegal.
Yeah. Damn. Dancing, drinking, like I remember. I was a stand, and then every time someone just come close and then, hey man, why are you drinking? Like they don't even know my name. They're like, "What are you drinking?" I'm drinking something. And after 5 minutes, like, "Hey, here you are. Let's shut up." Like, wow. So it's kind of in Brazil. Like every time, like you're in a party, people like putting drinking in a cup, and you don't stop drinking and partying.
You want to include everyone. Like, like come on, let's have a great time.
I think Irish culture is very much like that. Yeah, very
for sure.
hospitable and want to include everybody. Make sure everybody's comfortable.
I just went to Italy, and when I got in the hostel, one guy just shouted at me like, "Oh, yo, I just saw you in the street. You're staying here?" Yeah. And where are you from? I'm Irish. I was like, oh. So the only guy that actually came to me like to talk to me like randomly was Irish. I was like, oh, that's nice. So we started hanging along. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I really like how your culture and how your people like interact with so many countries because like in Rio we do got a lot of tourists, but we don't get like as much as immigration.
Yeah.
So how was for you like to interact these many cultures, these many people from all over the world?
Yeah.
I suppose Ireland is a small country, so most Irish, practically every Irish person will have been travelled to a different country, to Britain or to France or Germany or America. So, and also Irish people, we would have relatives abroad. So, for instance, I've relations in New York, like you, and most Irish people will have relations somewhere. So we're kind of used to travel. We're used to different cultures, and then we'd be used to tourists coming here as well. But it certainly makes me proud, like when like something like St. Patrick's Day, when you see everybody getting dressed up, wearing shamrocks and dressing in green and drinking Guinness and saying we're Irish. It makes me very proud that the Irish culture is very inclusive. Like other cultures might be more kind of exclusive. Like you
do you think?
Maybe, yeah. I think so, yeah. Or maybe, but certainly Irish culture is very inclusive.
Yeah.
I have the same vibe because, like, as I said, as we were saying, like, you want us like to participate in some Patrick.
Yeah.
So like in other countries it's hard to feel comfortable like getting into like in searching celebrations, but like I get that vibe.
I remember I went to Cork last year with friends. We were 4 guys, and then we went to we was in the port, drinking on the street, and then just some girls and guys just came by and start talking with us, like asking where you're from and like just to know about us.
Yeah.
From nothing. No, they just came by like, oh, how are you guys doing? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. And it's not common other side, other countries, I mean.
Yeah.
In Spain, for example, or Italy, yeah. I think people here are more, how can I say, sympathetic.
I think more open.
Yeah.
They're more open, like to
talk.
I feel comfortable enough to see and talk to you and everything, because like you know when someone you don't want to talk to that person, she's closed. So that's the good part, like to us and to interact, because like we can relate easily and just like have a great time. So. Yeah, it's really hard to end the sentence in English. Holy shit, I can't stop talking. If I can continue here.
Okay.
It's so hard.
So, Matthew, let's go to the questions and answers.
Sure, yeah.
So, we have some message from Camila.
Camila, beijo.
Camila, nice. Camila Odilon. Is there any place in Ireland that has a closer relationship with Brazil? I think there is a kind of a Brazil, not county, but neighbor here.
There's a Gort in County Galway.
Yeah, I think I heard about it.
There's a big meat factory there, and I think it might have been the 1990s. They've a huge meat factory, and they couldn't get enough workers. So I don't know how it ended up, but somebody, an recruitment agency, went to somewhere in Brazil. One of the states in Brazil, and got a few workers from there.
I think. Sorry.
Where was it?
Goiás, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it was really successful, and they all moved to Gort. So I think like half the residents are now Brazilian.
We talked with a guy, Pedro Castilho. He came when he was 6, and he was alphabetized here in Ireland. So, and he learned Portuguese at home. Not in the school. Okay. Because his school was in English. Yeah. And it's funny because he's blacker than me, and he speaks like an Irish person, like with the slang, with the accent. And he was saying like when he got the immigration, the officer got confused because he looks a Brazilian, but he speaks like an Irish guy. Yeah. How can I say? He say like, I'm Irish, or something like that. The way you guys talk. Camille again. Matthew, how many countries have you lived in? And what do you think of these places? Have you lived in many countries?
I've lived in a few countries. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I lived in the UK for 4 years.
Okay.
In Scotland and in England. I lived in New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah, I loved New Zealand, yeah. And I lived in Australia.
Wow. And came back to Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah, it was more like an adventure to me.
Okay. You never thought like go for good?
Not really. No, it was more just because I could. Like, so after I finished university, I moved to Australia for a year. I worked as a doctor.
Oh, nice.
And it was great. I had a great time. A great year.
I can see.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of always wanted to come back to Ireland. I like living here. And yeah, like in Australia, the lifestyle is fantastic. The weather is great. But you can't go to like Paris for a long weekend, or you can't go to Spain for a week's holiday, or to
It's too far from the rest of the world.
Kind of, it is very isolated. So I just love living in Europe. I was always coming back.
Yeah, that's the reason why I wouldn't change Europe to United States, because I lived there in 2011. Because again, here is very close to Spain, to Italy, to Germany, to other countries like that. So and even though like the States being a huge country, like traveling like 2 hours, 3 hours, you're gonna be still in the States. Europe is better, in my opinion. Honey Ellie Melo. Matthew, the most Brazilian Irish there is a heart. The most Brazilian Irish.
There is.
Oh yeah.
And then a heart.
Sorry.
Aniele Maria Batista.
Honey Ellie Melo. Her name?
Yes, their name. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's just Honey Ellie Melo.
Okay.
And the last one here, Matthew, the best rebolado in Ireland.
Ooh.
Do you like to shake your butt? I'm joking, man. Well, we are at the end now. So, was there any question that I didn't ask you, but you would like to to answer? I mean,
it's a good question.
That's a good question. I say this question every time at the end of the episodes.
There is anything that you want to talk about?
To talk about that I didn't like point it
to our viewers.
I hadn't thought about that. Like look up my YouTube channel if you're interested in Irish culture or Irish history or Irish language. Have a look, see what you think.
Yeah. What do you like most to talk about Irish culture? Like the thing you like most like to talk? Food, sports, or other stuff? Or
no, probably more history and language. So for instance, I liked the video on the days of the week in Irish. Just because it's fascinating for me. So I was talking earlier on that in English the days of the week are named after, well, in English they're named after the sun, the moon, like Sunday, Monday. There's Norse gods, so Thor's Day, the Thor is some Viking god. Tuesday, I'm not sure, but in Irish we have, it comes from Latin, so Sunday is de Downach, the day of the Lord. Monday is de Lune, the day of the moon. Tuesday is de March, the day of Mars, the planet, or the god of war. Wednesday is Céad Ian, and Céad means first, and Ian means a fast. And the reason being that the monks in medieval Ireland, they were the ones who wrote down Irish. So they used to have a fast on Friday, which was because that's when Jesus was crucified and died. So that was the main fast, and they used to have a fast on Wednesday as well. Probably no, the Last Supper was Thursday. I don't know why they fasted on Wednesday. So it's fascinating, like just the words we use, and there's so much historical context, and we never realize it. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and then Day Saturn is Saturday. That's the day of Saturn, the planet, or whatever Roman god he was, Saturn.
All right. So for people who wants to know more about language culture, which channel they have to follow?
Follow me on YouTube.
Yeah,
so,
Irish
Matthew. Yeah.
Yeah, I am Irish Matthew. Yes, is this?
Yeah, I am Irish Matthew.
Underscore.
Yeah.
I_am_Irish_Matthew.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
Right. Matthew, thank you so much for coming. It was a very nice conversation. Thank you for the patience with my English and the other guys here.
Thank you.
Pupilo e Pupilinho, thank you so much. And for you, follow us on our Instagram and subscribe in our channel. We are coming back here on next Tuesday. I don't remember now who's the next guest. But yeah, we are back on Tuesday at 9 o'clock here in Dublin. So yeah, thank you again, Matthew.
Muito obrigado. Obrigado.
De nada. And yeah, so follow us and see you on next Tuesday, guys. Enjoy your weekend. This was Talkeando Podcast. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.